West Coast. I'm a young gun looking for the smoke show. Quick to draw and I shoot to kill. Do it all for the thrill of it. I'm an outlaw, baddest on the East Coast. I'm a free bird looking for my...
Hey, look, menu pog.
Oh, absolutely. Surely there's like a coffee mug which is as big as my head. Surely, that's what I need.
Well, I've got a pretty big mug. I can send you some pics. I'll put it on Twitter. Maybe you guys at home can show us your coffee mugs. You know, make sure.
That's
or
my
your
mug.
mugs. Just send in a photo. Yeah. I have a big mug.
Nice, man.
It's dirty.
Oh,
it's
nice,
dirty.
mate.
Actually,
Here's
that
my
is my
mug.
head.
It's quite small though.
I'll use a big mug, so I just don't have to get up as often. It's pretty pog actually.
How big is
Now,
your head relative to average? Do you
I
think?
have a very large head.
large.
Everyone's always been like, "How is your head so big?" When headsets, right? Someone will use a headset after you're done. And they're like, "Why is your head so big?"
True.
And I'm just like, "Bro, I don't know, genetics, man. It just is." Now look,
What about with like bike helmets and stuff? Is that always an issue?
I didn't really.
I don't care about the
ride
LC
bikes
anymore.
too
I want to
often,
talk about
honestly.
big heads now.
I was trying to contextualize how big the mug was by asking how big his
I'm
head
going
was.
down that rabbit hole. Derail the show. We're off time
I
again.
just know, those one-size-fits-all hats?
Yeah.
I'm always just like maxing them out. Sometimes they don't fit. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
right. Yeah.
Now, look, let's jump on in to the final match of the day. We've got to talk Mammoth first, though, unless Skimmy wants to keep talking about head sizes.
No, I'll talk about Mammoth. Yeah, Mammoth are a team that came into this one, right? And we're thinking, okay, they've got a lot of players that have played pre-established before in the amateur circuit. They're going to come in, surely some pre-established synergy. It'll look good at the start, right? Playing very clear-cut execution comps. You're going in, we're getting kills. It's as easy as you like. But I think after a win against PGG and after a few upsets now, and what have been some very rough scheduling issues against them, taking on all the heavy hitters game after game after game, it feels like they've I wouldn't say taking their foot off the gas, but certainly being beaten down by the sort of the difference in caliber. A lot of these top teams now really hitting their stride and getting ready for playoffs form. And I do wonder if they're going to be much like Kanga that we saw earlier today, out of playoffs, but no longer the pressure there bearing down on them. So can certainly continue to play either with these unique champions or at a very sort of aggressive rate.
Well, they can, essentially experiment with a few more things, including their plays, including those champ pools. But let's see what Gravitas have for us today in terms of the team lineup, because that shifts from week to week. So it's looking the same as last week, Rusty. So what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I do think this is just going to be the roster they finish the split with, Mac. I would be surprised if something were to change from this point. Of course, you know that the bot lane can shift. We still have a couple of decent, ready-to-go supports and ADs in the wings there, but for now it is going to be Piglet and Vixpa. And what to say about this team so far, right, other than starting with Dajung every single time. It's very difficult to look somewhere that isn't Dajung in terms of performances. We've seen hit and miss from nobody. We haven't seen too much yet from the inclusion of Piglet and Vixpa back into the lineup. But to be fair, they're very similar to Mammoth. They've had a lot of very rough games back-to-back to back-to-back.
To back-to-back. Of course. Now, let's see if Gravitas can have a bit of revenge for last time, because I believe this one was a little bit of a stomp. However, the lineup, again, slightly different. They had Zeus last time, they had Thomas Shen in the mix, and nobody was in top lane. This was before, of course, he became the role swap jungler, which he currently has to sit in. So, I guess, are these changes going to be a positive thing? Do we like what we've seen from Gravitas in comparison to the lineup they showed last time they played Mammoth, Skimmy?
I think it's hard to quantify, right? Because we definitely saw Piglet pop off multiple times, and we thought that he was sort of the premier AD carry between the two of them. I feel like the talking point of at least last year was they had very different champion pools, but it feels like the lines have been a little bit blurred this time around. As you can see here, Mammoth certainly feeling himself with that victory. They actually hold the record, right, for the most long played game, which is like, what, 42 minutes? We've had a few long games today, actually, but yeah, they're hopefully going to be celebrating in that same vein, Mac.
I don't know if it works the same when you use your own hands to hold your own hands up high. It looks kind of like he's just like getting a cocktail ready.
True.
Constantly. Man's probably a barman when he's not playing League of Legends. Who knows? Maybe we can check in.
A side hustle.
But we're not going to be checking in with Refury today. We're going to be having a chat with Vixpa, and we got Kitty to do the talking because, I'm pooped. I'm just going to sit back over here and listen.
Hello
wait,
everyone.
there we go.
Let's ignore the fact that I wasn't actually talking to the stream. So as a support main, I will bring in another support main to grab what his insights are for the current meta. So Vixpa.
Hey.
Hello
How are
Vixpa, hopefully you're not muted like me. So Vixpa, having time with both ADCs, Piglet and T-Shan, tell us what it's like laning with the two ADCs and how the two players differentiate from each other.
Yeah, well, Piglet is very safe. He's definitely willing to go that extra mile to get a kill, but he's very safe, whereas T-Shen is a lot more flippy. He'll either have 16 kills or 16 deaths. Yeah, that's the main difference.
Well, we love a man that can do both, am I right? So let's talk about the current meta in support. So out of curiosity, in ranked solo queue, who is your most banned support champion and why do you hate them so much?
I think forever it's just been Zyra. I just have a mental block against her. Impossible for me. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, from my previous experience, I think playing an Enchanter that can maybe sustain the poke is okay into Zyra. And if chat's curious, the person I ban the most is Nautilus or Leona because, you know, point and click stuns ruin my day. Well, Vixpa, hopefully you guys have a fun match against Mammoth tonight and best of luck.
Thank you.
Always good to hear from the players, their opinions, their thoughts, and, you know, I also love a man that can do it both, Kitty. Now, look, you guys at home, get those Twitch predictions in because the Dare fan vote is ready for you. Is ready for your Twitch points to either be passed to other people, to be sent down the drain, or to be, you know, doubled, quadrupled. I don't know how this one's going to go. I don't know. Both these teams have, like, a decent fan base in Twitch chat. I'm thinking, from what I've seen, you know, the vocal ones are definitely Mammoth members, but I don't know. I reckon I could probably hear Gravitas as well if there's any Gravitas fans in the Twitch chat right now. So get those in for the Dare fan vote. But let's talk our predictions as well, because this could be another split one. Okay, we got two people going for Gravitas.
Oh,
all right,
okay,
form
explain
check.
yourselves.
Why have I gone Gravitas? I just want to see them get a win, right? Sitting on 2, I'd love to see them get a few more. It's usually been the game of the century to watch them go up against Mammoth, and I'd just love to see them close out split 1 with at least some form of bragging rights, or at least something to celebrate, because the other game's going to be pretty rough.
Very true. What about you, Kitty? Why have you gone for Grab over Mammoth?
I'm gonna be straight up with the point, guys. I haven't actually been enjoying Mammoth's drafts. I think they don't play around Refury as much, putting him on Rise most of the time, and he's never actually done really well on the Rise, so I think they should just put him back on another AD super hyper carry that can bring them another victory. So going with Gravitas because they have better drafts.
Okay, well, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Like, just go back to what was working, and I feel like that's a pretty good motto. Even if it's not meta, even if it's not the greatest thing, if you execute right, if you are Mammoth and you have that chemistry coming into the start of the split, like, just go back to what was working. Is that a positive thing, Rusty? Is that something you'd used to say, or were you just like, no, meta,
I mean,
play it?
Most teams are going to go back to what's working for them when they start losing, right? This is one of those games where, like, I would say both Mammoth and Gravitas are looking at saying objectively winnable, so
Yeah.
go back to what works.
Go
and
back.
Just give it your best.
What works? I'm interrupting you because Champ Select's ready, Rusty.
Yeah,
I
I
wasn't
know,
being
I know.
rude. Just
All good.
you can keep talking now.
So I cut myself off. You're good.
Thank you. Really appreciate that throw there, Mac. Champ Select. Yes, that's not awkward at all. Gravitas versus Mammoth. That's how we're going to close out night number 1 here of Week 8. Well, well into things, aren't we? We've certainly banned away a few champions. We've certainly locked in a few champions as well.
Yeah, we're very far through this one. All the bans done already. So let's just quickly try and stock take this one. I feel like this is going to be first picked by Gravitas on blue side. It is just the Jinx that is going to be banned away by Mammoth on red, which means pretty much every AD is still up and ready. It could quite simply just be a case of picking Caitlyn Lux. If that's where they want to go, I wouldn't be surprised if Voice and Rocco choose to do something like that, Skimmy. But as we have to contextualize a game like this, just in case, the game actually means nothing, right? In terms of standings, both teams have been eliminated from playoff contention. So they are playing for development, for improvement, for bragging rights, right? For all of these things, but none of it actually playing for making playoffs. So there is a world, there is a universe, if we're going to follow the Stephen Strange theories that Mac's going to be presenting us where they just play for fun, right? We get some weird drafts, but I'm expecting serious.
Yeah, it's another game we've actually seen an Ezreal locked in on the first rotation red side, but not be coupled with, say, a Karma. I know you've been a bit vocal about that in games before, but we'll get to see if that does actually have any consequences against them. As for Gravitas, going to lock in their bot lane and make no short revelation. Yes, there is Fresh. Yes, there is Leona, but we know it's Vixper. He has a big infinity towards playing a Nautilus, so that's what they've opted for.
So my take with Ezreal, just to be really clear here, is I think Ezreal Karma makes Ezreal a much better laner because Karma pushes waves, right, and controls minions incredibly well. And I don't think that anyone in OS is good enough at Ezreal to just pick it and be able to 1v9 a game, right? Like, Ezreal is constantly skill shots, and I think there was... And there used to be, and this is for the LPL to be clear, right? There was a list of like 3 ADs out of the best ADs in the world that we gave permission to pick Ezreal and just do well by yourself. So you have to be really good at Ezreal to be able to pick it with any other regular support where, like, you know, a Karma is able to cover your weaknesses. You could play Nautilus and leave the lane, right, and just leave Ezreal because he can press Q perfectly fine. And Renata's going to be locked in here as well, and she is not known for her prowess in laning. She's kind of like a catch-all support that does a bit of everything, but her laning isn't exceptional, and Ezreal can cover that weakness pretty well.
That's been interesting. I was having a quick look at the global stats for Renata ever since 12-4. Actually being picked a lot more now in comparison to, say, a Lulu, which we thought, you know, there was some similarities between both of their kits, but I feel like we've seen the majority of this Renata be paired with something like an Aphelios, like a Jinx, even a Zeri, for instance. It was a little bit odd that you'd pair this with an Ezreal, but might be holding their grand reveal to some other champions. We saw it also from Peace as the first champion. That was to buff up the Hecarim, right? Much the same as a Lulu or a Karma. So really got something up here.
Yeah, they do like the Renata a little bit more and more around the world lately. You are absolutely right. I mean, it can just be game-changing, right? Here's the thing. We have a Volibear locked in. Just looking at the enemy team right now, if you're Gravitas, there is just a Sylas sitting heavily on my mind. Because the enemy team straight up just has a Renata. Like, why not just be Sylas and take that ultimate and throw it back at them? Just like, you know, reverse card them.
Sure.
Depends on your matchups, of course, but you see the Sylas. You see the Ryze, rather. So if you think that's a playable matchup, that sounds pretty pog. And it's also got mobility into a Java.
I love that description.
Pretty pog.
We're actually just Twitch casting. Yeah, we certainly are. Look, it happens to be at the best of times. Sometimes you realize, oh, I'm not actually just watching screen sharing with some friends.
Did I just say Keck W out
Yeah,
loud?
did I just say that?
Disaster.
I'm cringe.
Cringe and bad.
Jarvan locked in here from the side of Mammoth, so certainly got some very strong engage between themselves, the link-up, I should say, between the mid-jungle. GP actually going to come out here from Tyrant. Is this the first time we're actually seeing Gravitas' top lane being thrown a bone to actually play strong?
No. Gangplank plays weak side pretty often. It's also picked blind, right? It's not into like a Gnar, which is one of the winning matchups for it. You don't know what it's going to be for Tron. Tron could actually just pick Gnar, which, you know, I would say Gangplank has a pretty good time into it, but we'll see. It's going to be a Zillion. Okay. So, heavy wave control works really nicely with a Volibear, right? You've got the dive with the time bomb on your head. It can kind of keep up, not to the degree that a Ryze can push early, but starts to scale into wave clear incredibly well. Right now, the issue that Gravitas have to think about is what will be picked top lane, because there is already AD, there's already magic damage. Whatever you play top is a Ryze. So they see the Gangplank, and I guess they want the Ryze matchup. This is the second time Tron's played it, to be fair.
Yeah, he actually got the respect as well, banning away that Vladimir, which we saw early indications in the split for him as to, I'm willing to play this. Doesn't really seem to bother me, so don't give me an opportunity to go for that one. But I feel like we're seeing two mid-jungles on either side that have some clear strength in CC capabilities, and ultimately just enough strength to sort of lock down a quadrant of the map.
Yeah, there is really nice setup for the Jarvan to prosper in this game as well on Mammoth's side. I'm a big fan of what they have overall. Nice pick, right? Nice map rotations, really heavy active movements, probably going to be around the entire map. The thing that we ran into last time, I believe, that Mammoth played Ryze top skimming, I think it was into Chiefs. And I'm pretty sure we saw Tron use his ultimate to disengage only from top lane only the entire game. So we're looking to see a lot more proactivity out of Tron. We're looking to see a lot more movement after pushing waves potentially, because one of the reasons you pick Ryze is for that ultimate utility. Otherwise, playing at top lane feels like you've just wasted an ability and you could be another champion.
Yeah, certainly. If you're just existing in that lane, you'd rather have something to actually play the lane as opposed to look to group up with the rest of the team, link up and force numbers advantages. But that is the roster they've got. That is the setup that they have. Very strong ability, if you will, to guarantee that there is a kill target and there is some form of fashion to keep all these bruises, all these carries, if you will, topped up and healthy and keen to scrap with a Renata thrown into the mix of things. That's for Gravitas, though. I mean, you could make a similar argument, right? It's a battle of really who can get the more revives off, who can sort of stay around and pop off.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely a really high difficulty to kill anyone on the side of Gravitas, to be clear as well, right? Volibear stops turrets, Gangplank has the W, Dajung with the Zillion has the ultimate, and then bot lane is pretty standard. So that's the place we have to look at. There is a lot of auto attack based damage here as well from both Tyrant and Piglet for Renata ultimates. Nobody could be an issue depending on the timing of when that ultimate hits, if it hits him, because then suddenly he turns around with Q on and just sprints at your carry and stuns them as a Volibear. That'd be a fun time. So there's still some threats there, but yeah, hard to kill composition against hard to kill composition.
Certainly is, and in a game which is, well, as we said before, a battle of the wooden spoon. Both these teams had a playoffs, but both looking to showcase what they've achieved over 8 weeks of competition here in the LCO. Chance for them, no doubt about it. And a big chance also to check in with Gravitas as their coach, Sype Nav, joins us. And Sype, I mean, we've spent a lot of time, you know, talking about the team and sort of how you found it week in, week out, but I'd love to shine the focus on yourself and the rest of your coaching staff for a second instead and sort of say, how have you found the split? How's it been coaching and sort of what's it been like working with the team?
Yeah, thanks for having me back. The team's been pretty good overall. It's just, it's been rather challenging this split, particularly having a lot more roster moves than we would have liked, because unfortunately not all roster moves are by choice. You know, some people aren't available certain weeks, so you have to make do. And that sort of led to the development taking a lot longer than I had expected and would have liked to have had. But we've got to keep a positive outlook and keep our heads up going into Split 2.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I suppose talking about Split 2, right, is there any sort of key lessons that you can bring into that one, be it with sort of pre-established systems for that development as you highlight, or sort of figuring out what rosters work, what partnerships in the bot lane as we've seen you flirt around with a few times?
Yeah, going into Split 2, we'll probably keep a more steady roster, trying to get a longer period of time that people can develop synergy together. Because that's the thing we're lacking a lot at the moment, is that consistency. Because some games we look really great, and other games we look pretty horrible. So it's about building up that consistency so that we can really get those wins.
Yeah, hit the ground running as that one kicks off. Well, I'm excited to see how this game plays out. I know it's a bit of a rival head-to-head between yourselves and Mammoth, so hopefully there's bragging rights at least at the finishing line for you to claim. So yeah, best of luck for this week and the rest.
Thank you very much.
All right, just kicking this one off, Skimmy. Both junglers actually have started on the same side of the map, so one thing to consider when it comes to a red and a blue start is that often Krugs aren't going to be immediately looked at. The Jarvan has prioritized Raptors towards a full blue side clear, which means the Krug camp is just going to be up and ready. This means that nobody will have a camp lead in general, right, if he wants to go Krugs into a Scuttle Crab. But what it also means is the junglers would meet at the Scuttle Crab if they were to walk into the river after their full clear. So eyes on bottom lane, eyes on river on bot side, just to see what happens between both teams, because the Jarvan and a Volibear very much enjoy a good gank.
Certainly do. Get to see where that takes place. We're just quickly checking in with some of these rune choices as well. No surprise, the Galio has opted for Predator in the mid lane to be as mobile as possible, but we're actually going to get our second game of Renata, and this time it's going to go for the summon area. I know we had a bit of a discussion as to sort of what options were there. It seems like Guardian seems to be the go-to. But it's going to offer a little bit more damage in lane to try and patch up that weakness.
I don't mind Arian to support champions as well. I rather melee champions as well. I just, offers a little bit more. However, In the same vein, Guardian obviously has its advantages. I think this has been, you know what, I have to look towards top lane, I think, more than anything else in this game, Skimmy. I was just trying to work out in my head what I think is important. We might have to hold the thought because mid could be potentially a point of fight, but for me, I look at Tron, I look at Tyrant as the two biggest underperformers that I think really need to shape up more as the split progresses, right? But I feel like the trajectory of both players has been a little bit different. I think Tron started a bit more solid, right? You think back to the Vladimir flank game, etc., and has kind of stagnated, where I think Tyrant has struggled from day one, but is just like, it's a steady, like a 1% type improvement that we've seen more and more from them. So I constantly want to look towards top lane just to see, like, has there been an improvement that we can notice when those two play against each other?
Good talking point. You look at Tyrant, 5 unique champions played. You look at Tron the Pom, 13. He's been certainly given the reins to play whatever he likes, and maybe that has hurt him more than helped him. In jumps Voice with a very aggressive shift forward to find that kill. The handshake is there. In many ways, more than just a skill. As Mayfarn cops a bit of trade back from a very topped up and healthy Piglet. 2v3 situation, but not afraid.
That was actually pretty nuts from Vixbury. He throws the hook and stops the Jarvan mid-flag drag combo. Procs the aftershock and is able to just walk himself out to safety. Could have hooked a wall, right, to cover some extra distance and get himself to safety, but being able to proc that aftershock is significant. To make sure that he gets to just walk it out. No summoner spells used. Piglet will have to use the heal, but it's actually a 1-for-2 transaction in summoner spells. So that's a big win for the Gravitas 2v2.
Certainly is. Also just quickly checking in with the Dare fan vote. 71% of you guys believe that Gravitas should take this one out, which is, in my mind, surprising.
That means I'm the only Mammoth predictor in the casting team.
Yeah. Despite their record, it seems strangely high.
Yeah.
Let's wait and see, though. They believe in the hype. They share the same sentiment. They want to see a win for the Gravy Train.
They wanted a juicy dub for the Gravy Boys. I believe they're very comfortable, by the way, in how this jungle has panned out so far. A couple of extra camps. The Jarvan showing himself bottom while his 2v2 actually won that. Very happy with the state of his map. Top Scuttle is going to be the first thing to take, and he can either go for a deep control if he really wants to, back towards his blue buff, or he can just get active on the map with his mid laner, who obviously might want a little bit of backup here. I don't think he's lost the Scuttle Crab yet, has he?
No, he certainly hasn't. Very happy with the way this game is playing on out. Going to help him keep tabs on where this Jarvan is at every moment, which is obviously so paramount. Very easy to gank as that J4. To allow him to find those creative angles as well. So a full farm. What a playstyle. Certainly isn't going to be a miss here.
Just a quick note as well for all the support mains out there with this bot lane matchup. Ezreal is obnoxious to play into as a Nautilus. You throw hook, you can buffer the E.
Yep.
You never actually close the distance unless he makes a mistake. You can try and like throw a hook towards him if there's a wall nearby, and if he manages to dodge it, right, you get the wall auto attack off. But at the end of the day, it's just a really boring, uninteractive matchup when an Ezreal has E and a tier on the enemy team. You have to actually throw and connect 2 hooks back-to-back off cooldown to have a shot.
Creative gank assessments is that's what we're going to find in mid lane, and that's a Cataclysm to say this is my kill, Fury. Mayfarn runs this map. First blood, just like that at the 8-minute mark.
Yeah, it really is your first blow. Spoke about this in draft, right? There is an incredible amount of gank setup between both solo laners for a Jarvan, which is just optimal for a Jarvan comp, right? Like, you have the Galio hit the taunt, Flag Drag is going to connect, and they just find the damage burst onto Dajung. He dies with no way out. His only option was to try and flash before the taunt had connected, but a little bit too late by that point, as we almost lose the dragon, but it is going to be shown as secured.
First dragon, and as you say, secured for them. Nice little way for them to open the floodgates here for what could be a soul point to give them that power boost, but the very early days does determine what we can see in this top lane as well. That's where we wanted to put a lot of this focus on. Right now, Tron is up by about 10 CS, and Tron's copying a fair bit of a beating in this trade. Tron might actually look to try and run this one down with Phase Rush active. He's got a flash. Ooh, if that Q connected.
Yeah, he wasn't actually certain of his own damage there, it feels like. As his passive was going to proc, maybe it was the phase rush, he wasn't pathing towards having lethal damage, and I think might have surprised himself when that Q connected. So he just wasn't close enough. Dajong on the respawn, however, though. Remember that nobody level 7 has the ultimate to disengage the turret. Reinforcements are here. Galio ultimate is so instant that I think going for this dive is definitely ill-advised.
Yeah.
Let alone a Jarvan being there.
I think as soon as they realize that, hang on a minute, mid's miss and no tabs on Jarvan, we're no longer keen to make this tower dive crash happen. So, good assessment, good judgment. Bot lane can now just go back to base, reset and find their fight elsewhere. There's a Herald that's been there for about 2 minutes now. Only now starting to see pings towards it as a consideration.
Fun, interactive lane. Playing against a Galio as a Zillion, isn't it? You just don't have much damage. One thing for this matchup, though, now that Galio, rather the Zillion, hit level 5, right, especially with the tier build, is he's just going to be perma-clearing waves. So a lot of this game is going to be about mid laners non-interactive, just full clearing, dipping to side lanes, and seeing if they can get things done. Jarvan obviously has got pretty high kill threat if he goes to mid, so there's still that possibility, especially with a Predator Galio running at the Zillion. But I don't think that's the same for Nobody and Dajul, right? I do think that Refury just walks away. So objectives like you're seeing is the point where the fights may happen. And Rocco is here well early compared to the Nautilus, so it's gone.
Yeah, they've just got strength in numbers. 4 members in the area, they'll take that one. But Piglet, on some fantastic timing, quite honestly, with the red and white, you could go for a fight, but ultimately, as I can shred through these plates, it's going to find 2. Uncontested, untouched.
Vixper actually considers walking up. He's just going to go for a slightly deeper ward and have one in river, so they're really trying to protect Piglet here. He has a nice CS advantage for himself, almost the expected result, given how away from bot lane Mammoth should be playing. Picking the Ezreal Renata, it makes sense. But at the same time, he has still got his early item spike in comparison to that of Piglet. So I think right now the 2v2 is probably stronger for Mammoth than Mayfun. I think he knows it.
I think he feels it as well. Rocco copying a lot of damage right now, but the hostile takeover comes across only onto Vix, but instant flash away. Mayfun in trouble. Actually, no. He's the one dealing the trouble. He is the trouble. 2-man Cataclysm and a Cannon Barrage, which, well, Mammoth really just walk away from.
Yeah, nice little pick once again from Mammoth. Dajung in the area, so if they try and make a dive onto Piglet, he would be here with that Chrono Shift, but doesn't seem like, well, actually, he's just straight up. Oh, wow, okay, nothing going right.
Okay.
There's just a wall. Who would win, a giant, colossal Titan, those Galio, or one Wally boy?
Oh, no.
That's so sad.
That's something he'll be hoping didn't get called.
It was a kill, man.
He's like, I've got Zillion. Go silent.
That was a highly illegal Zillion. So he will be sad about that one, and we will make sure that he knows that we saw him. Don't worry.
Got receipts. And yeah, I mean, a Herald play basically just equalizes what Piglet was able to find on his own. Yes, there's still going to be an XP to account between the likes of Piglet and Voice, but monetary values, it's back to square even again.
I mean, it's still Gravitas with a lead. They're just farming better. You know, 30 CS for AD, 30 CS for mid. Top lane is a gangplank, so even if it's even CS, he's winning, right? Every time he last hits with Q, he gets some bonus gold. Volibear's been pathing pretty well, but at this point, Mayfun's kills have kind of equalized that. And because the kills have gone onto the Jarvan, there hasn't been a massive translation of like item spike advantages in solo lanes or anything. So Gravitas keeping themselves in the game simply by farming. And Mammoth, it feels like, have just been making better decisions.
Waiting to see what Nobody does with that first ultimate. We're waiting. Seen in a slight inkling towards going for a bot dive. Ultimately, that one did not connect. Here we go for a fight around this dragon. Another massive Cataclysm locking everybody in place as the hostile takeover basically makes sure that you will be stuck in this ring and you'll be all falling down together. Voice untouched in the backline, sitting on a double kill. Quite honestly, you could just play complete clean sweep with it. And there you're seeing the proof is in the pudding. It's a triple. And Voice, he'd love to try and get himself a quadra kill, but Rocco gets the handshake and a preemptive chrono shift, which, well, wasn't enough. It already been burnt, so he gets it all.
Yeah, no ultimate there for the Zillion. Dajung just gets caught by Rocco, gets pulled back to his team, completely assailed, and the rest of Mammoth wipe Gravitas, in essence, in a 4v4. Refury walks in, only one bomb connects. The fight is just as easy as following through. Rocco's going to hit the R button. It's going to connect with everybody. Voice actually assassinates Piglet while Piglet is killing his own team. So there's even a world where you could be more efficient there if you're Voice and just let Piglet go to work and then take him out after the ultimate goes down from Renata. And then the follow through here, it's as simple as locking him next to the wall, and then there's no way the Zillion's going to be able to dodge the handshake as it finds the mark. Easy dub from Mammoth.
And if you talk about a power spike, well, on a cheap, efficient item character like Ezreal, pretty happy that you just picked up a quad from that one. And you've actually taken away the dragon as well. And you've already got that tier, if I saw correctly, stacked up. Yes. So, I mean, he's going back to base now. There's a completed Muramana. And
Boots
look,
are for losers.
You're just keen to brawl all day.
Yeah, he's going to be walking extremely slowly, but he is going to one-hit anyone inside. Full item ahead. Doesn't have the magical footwear. He actually has domination secondary. I wonder what he's gone for. Is that Ingenious Hunter because he has Sheen? I'll have to check.
We can find out.
It makes sense. I do think that Ingenious Hunter is super nice for Ezreal in particular with Sheen. I think it's like a 60-odd ability power breakpoint, but at some point you get Sheen up way more often, like extra auto attack faster every single time. Which obviously for Ezreal sounds nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. I just love how, you know, blue builds as a whole are just sort of dominating on any character now. You know, you've got blue Ezreal, blue Ryze, now blue Nocturne.
The old TikTok knock.
Oh, no.
What are we going to get from him tomorrow? That's the question. What
Question
champions
is-
do you reckon are on TikTok? And why is blue Nocturne even worthy of a video?
But that's also the same thing. Is like, who's he following to find these builds?
Yeah.
It's almost like, you know, somebody doesn't give up his, you know, his resources. He's like, well, I'm not going to let you know who I'm following. Tyrant is being followed by this Jarvan, however, into a taunt from Refury. The mid-jungle linking up in the top lane, however, and Tyrant drops down the cannon and is so unfortunate not to take out Galio in the process. In zooms the Zillion. You can't sidestep everything, will eventually fall on down. Can nobody answer back to make this an even 2v2? That's going to be a stopwatch. But Mammoth forgot numbers until Vixper rocks up as well. Another beautiful knock-up with the flag and drag. The Chrono Shift is good. The bailout is there. It's going to expire.
They just don't have damage, Skimmy. They just don't have damage.
How has Mayfarm lived?
Because they don't have damage, Zillion tries, but it's a Everfrost build, right? The Volibear's got a Sunfire cape, it's not a Divine Sunderer. There's just zero DPS being built by Gravitas. And unfortunately for them, Mayfun will just survive. Renata with a huge ultimate on the very last bit of that fight as well, Skimmy.
Yeah.
And the hostile takeover, like you were highlighting, is enough to make sure they just kill each other with their lack of damage instead of Mayfun, who cannot find this eye. We'll watch what happens though. I guess we missed the 1v1 in mid. Voice is a full item ahead, if memory serves, at the time of this. But there's a lot of chakra. Okay, yeah, he just gets it.
You know what that is? That's
How
a
many
magical
years?
footwear diff.
Oh, magical footwear dip.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he's got brown bags though now. I mean, I was going to say a 200 years diff, but magical footwear works.
Yep.
I mean, quite simply, that is just green-white hitting the skill shots. Like, that is just it's a combination of skill shots connecting over a period of 30 seconds that Voice just can do nothing about, but dodge better next time.
Yeah, that must be so wildly frustrating to be like, well, I'm in such a huge position. How else has gone so pear-shaped? And we saw it already happen earlier today, right? The fact that Lima's taken on Raze in this exact sort of setup. They just took some fancy feet from the Ezreal. Basically, as you saw, dodge.
I don't think we've seen Renata Glass use anything related to the W to keep someone alive yet either, have we?
I mean, she popped it on herself in that last exchange, right? But as you saw, there just wasn't enough damage, so it didn't even get popped.
Yeah.
Not be too concerned.
It's been an ult bot in reality.
Yeah.
A couple of nice handshakes here and there, but no bailouts needed.
I'm enjoying the interaction between the ultimate of that and the Cataclysm, though.
It is quite nice. You know, one thing that would make Mammoth's composition even better would just be a Camille bot lane. I think the Rise was picked because it's flexible, right? You get to early Rise. But imagine if it was a... Hang on.
Well, imagine it was Mayfan just saying, what's up? Oh, look at the Galio on top of their head as well. He is the hero, and that was an entrance you can certainly be proud of. The Herald nearly trying to take out Piglet on his own, acting as the 6th member on the Mammoth side. And
only one death.
Only one person died. That just seems crazy to me.
I feel like that was just the perfect combo, but only... Okay, nobody will just die at the very end there, but that was like a 15-second chase from Refury away from the Drake. It should still just be the Drake secured. Should be.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. There we go. Don't hold your breath too long.
You never know. Great handshake from Rocco. Literally with the last bit of mana he had. Always could have been in trouble.
I'll tell you what, if that team fight had a couple of extra kills, that's a montage, right? Like that is a sick wombo combo. The Jarvan hits the ultimate, a couple of summoner spells missing on Gravitas' side. They all turn Berserk, and then once the Berserk runs out, Galio lands. Like that is insane, but just no damage.
You know what I like also?
You know, actually, Skivvy, you know what? The fact that Gravitas have built no damage saves them from the Renata ult.
True. Okay, they're 10 steps ahead. Let's not get fed, so we can't die to their synergies. Okay.
If we're weak, that ult is useless.
Ah, that's how you beat the meta. Just be a weak team. Gotcha, gotcha. I was going to say, though, I'm actually a really big fan of Mayfan's randomization. Rushing a Guardian's Angel second. He's 5-0 in 7. He's got the majority of their gold. He's got a huge bounty in his head as well. So why not say, I'm just going to protect that lead. I am just finding the Dream Cataclysms on repeat. I just need to survive.
I mean, I always think that GA second is just okay. There is always a risk attributed to that item, right? If you waste the GA, if you get picked, then you just, like, you are objectively missing stats that other items will give you, right? Where the resurrection is the key feature of that Guardian Angel. If you play correctly and you manage to keep the GA for fights, then you save the bounty, like you mentioned as well, like that could be huge.
Sure.
But a Death's Dance, right, is always useful. I do think in this game, though, right, like the lack of magic damage that belongs to Gravitas' composition, it's just a nice item. But again, you know, things like the Death's Dance exist. Matter of preference, I guess.
Good to see. But I guess really the talking point would be he can continue to play as Cypher as he has been without really any fear of falling on down. I mean, imagine if you get the stopwatch too, then you're just really slamming your desk at that stage of the game. Tron top side, cycling through some damage. He's got a blue buff, so he's a very happy laner. But Tyron's done a phenomenal job actually bringing back this deficit, which was at some stages you know, at least 20 down.
Yeah, he's doing all right. I mean, I would like to check the gold values between both top laners at the moment as well, because that Gangplank seems like he's doing all right. He is a full item down. It depends how much he's been able to last hit with Q. Thank you, NeoSurf. You can see he's still ahead of the Rise, right? That's the main point. So 0-2 compared to the 2-0-2 and a bounty, doesn't matter because Gangplank presses Q on minions, gets bonus gold on every single one. He's actually doing perfectly fine to stay in this game.
Yeah.
The person who's suffering is nobody. The player.
Yeah, it feels odd to me, right? Because we have seen him come into the substitute position and default to Trundle on repeat, only really being punished by that once when to play the Olaf. You would think, in theory, it's a similar champion for the Trundle. And it's sort of it's gank setup. Sure, there's no pillar, but for instance, you're getting in their face, you're looking to try and dive turrets, you're looking to be an absolute menace as the tanky beast, but very quiet in terms of ganking.
Yeah, he has been. I mean, we spoke about the first clear roughly, right? He's been doing very well to get some leads, but you're right, he's been super quiet when it comes to the game. Which is very different to the Trundle identity that we did see from him in the past. Trundle getting banned away so often though, like you have to come up with some new strats.
Sure.
So he's got to learn on the trot.
All the tracking that they had on towards Mayfan, he's certainly not been too deterred by it though, ultimately, right? He's come back into this one with a vengeance and said, you know, ultimately I am a Jarvan, I will be incredibly strong in this early portion, I will be a nuisance. And we're going to put ourselves in a strong position to try and close out this one. Now, I remember saying very early on into this game that it could be an easy soul point for Mammoth. It's certainly seeming to be the case, right? 25 minutes, and that's a soul point up for grabs.
Yeah, it's an Ocean Soul at that. So if you think that Gravitas are not doing too much damage right now, imagine the sustain that Mammoth will now have on the other side. Fairly beefy composition for themselves as well, as Voice takes half his damage. Half his health rather in damage. And they're just going to be in the front lines dealing DPS, right? So I think that will have incredible use over the protracted team fights that we're expecting to see here. One point, though, that we have to highlight is that Tyrant is here. He is level 14 with 2 items and a crit cloak. There is the potential now that they actually just smash a carry out of Mammoth.
Here we go though, Mayfarm says it's my time to shine. Instantly Piglet flashes out of that one. A flash forward from Yufu and he just sniped away to Civilians. Piglet tried to play that fight so beautifully, but it just was not enough. An early Chrono Shift onto Vix, but that expires and same to be his health bar as well. Always very unfortunate to find this one, but it's just still the Ezreal show. He is untouched and able to do whatever he likes.
Voice shifting forwards. Very well done. Tron's going to come in and find nobody. Just remember, this is Ocean Soul, so nobody desperate to try and stop this one. I don't think he can actually do anything now, so it is just going to be base, and I mean, that's confirmation.
Oh, that was so close. I feel like if you're taking that, you're thinking that Baron is as free as possible, but ultimately Ocean Soul might just be too much ready.
Yeah, Ocean Soul's going to make that hard. I mean, we see a replay of that fight again. I had my eyes firmly planted on Tyrant to see what he was up to, and for someone who has got his items and wants to be a carry, just look at who he hits through this, right? Gangplank Ultimate is good, but then he just goes on Tron and Rocco the entire time. Meanwhile, Voice is going forwards, Refury is going forwards. They are absolutely getting it done. I think that was a Zillion Ultimate on a Nautilus.
It was, yeah.
That's a bit, how you going?
At half HP, no real concern
Let
for
the
it.
Naut die. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just watching that play onto what Piglet had to deal with, and it was copping a true shot barrage, it was copping an Ezreal flashing into his face to make sure that the skill shot will land. And that's when you're thinking, surely that's where the Chrono Shift is meant to come into effect?
Yeah. Again, I'd have to watch specifically for Dudgeon in the fight to see why the ultimate went on the Nautilus, because you would assume he was in fact bait for Piglet. But nevertheless, doesn't hit the mark. Piglet doesn't come back to life, and then a big part of the composition of Gravitas just goes missing. That's with a Bloodthirster build, right? He's built for sustain.
Yeah.
Not for the highest DPS yet, or that LDR might have been second. Mammoth a little bit too strong now, I think.
Certainly built for sustain and survival, but you can see just how hard it is to try and find those conditions being actually met. And 5k gold leads. An Ocean Soul, which you could probably say equals another 5k at this stage, because it's just so hard to break their ranks. And yes, there are some bounties for them to claim, but it just feels so hard for them to actually go into the river to look at even starting up the idea of a Baron. There's a world in which they can delay another 4 minutes. There's an Elder there for the taking too, but that's another bread and butter combo. 2 members on repeat, locked in place by this Cataclysm. An absolute field day here for Mayfarm. In my mind, having the best game of his split to date, and they're just going to wipe the floor here with Gravitas. Take down 3.
Yeah, easy win once again back-to-back here for Mammoth as these team fights come across. Baron on the cards, and with all 5 members alive, including a Smite ready to go, you would expect this Baron is just secured. If you were nobody, I do think you actually throw a Hail Mary here and just give it your best. And probably die. And Refury is going to not even allow that to happen, Skibby.
Been staunched off
Not
the
even
wave.
a crumb.
No. Oh, here's a side story for you. When you have toast and you want the crumbs, do you ever eat toast in bed, or do you get so tilted by the crumbs that could end up in your bed sheets?
I will never eat toast in bed because the threat of crumbs is just too great. Watch this fight again just quickly. It was Sandru that does get an ult on the Piglet. I was wondering how Piglet managed to end up next to Voice in the backline of Mammoth's team. That's just quite simply because there was a flash ult used by the Zillion. But Zillion also flashed into the Galio knockup. But yes, in conclusion, Skimmy, I actually can't condone anyone that eats toast in bed unless you have, like, a large plate, right? Like, well, have you ever had those, it's a mobile plate that has, like, bean bags underneath it that you can, like, rest on your legs.
Yes, they're kind of like
That
TV
is
diner ones.
goated.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Because they've got, like, a little dip around the edges for Crumb.
How far have we fallen as a civilization?
Right?
Lock yourself in home.
tables
Let's
for
get lazy
breakfast.
about it. And let's see what Gravitas can do. The teamfight's going to break out. Rocco very low, but the bailout, once again, not even procced. Tron wasn't there. He is now. The Cataclysm jumped away from, and Mayfar's still not under any real threat of having to worry about that Guardian Angel. Voice is just trying to be an absolute hero.
Voice.
He's flashed forward. He wants to do it all. He's trying to go for the bailout procs. It's just staying online. He is doing it all on his own. He's corralled the rest of the team. Get in this base, because I am popping off.
Voice actually used the Prowler's Claw to give Galio the ultimate angle. That is absolutely insane from the AD of Mammoth. And they are far enough ahead at this point that this should just be a push to win, right? You've got a couple of seconds on nobody coming back. But a jungle and a support, the auxiliary members of Gravitas, no shot they can stop this push.
And just look how animated Voice is at this stage. I tell you what, he's definitely trimming some delicious 5-gun flavor if I've ever seen it, because he is chomping his way through the enemy ranks of Gravitas. On to the Nexus at 30 minutes exactly, and on for the perfect 3-0 into Gravitas.
Great split one for the head-to-head here by Mammoth, and good to see them get a win back on the board as well. It's pretty important for Mammoth, right? They've had a really rough couple of weeks through Super Week, and I think they'll be very happy getting a bit of momentum back in their favor towards the very end of this one. It was serious from start to end for them, but they were just so far ahead, Skimmy, that they actually had a lethality Ezreal. Standard build, but playing like he was a tank to give the engage angle for a Galio. It was
No
wild.
doubt. No doubt about it in my mind, right? The communications were, Rocco, do you got bailout? Yep, okay, I'm going in. Watch this. And the rest of the team says, okay, man's a bit possessed. He's trying to do it all, Mac. And have you ever had a game like that in your solo queue experience when Eddie Carry says, watch me carry? And then it actually works?
And he says it. I don't know how often they say it. They either just do it, or they limit test and it works, or they limit test and it doesn't work. There's only like the 3 variables, right? No one communicates at my rank. I don't know why you think they'd speak to me. Like their egos are way too big in Bronze, man. No one knows anything. Everyone just knows everything. That's the way it goes. And this was not that. This was Voice just popping off, showing what he's learnt this split and saying, Gravitas, no damn way are you going to best us today. And that was beautiful. That was a well-played game by Mammoth. And Rusty was the only one to get the prediction correct. I actually missed what the DFN vote was.
Twitch chat was 71% Gravitas.
Oh, okay.
We're all huffing some
I
copium.
hate you all in Twitch chat. Now, thanks. We're never going to catch up like that. All right, come on, pick up your game, Twitch chat. Just like Mammoth, picking up their game towards the end of the split. It's too late, of course, to get into the playoffs, but you know they're showing that they're here to play for next split, and things are starting to work out again. They've had a couple of rough weeks, and look, getting everyone on some champs that feel comfortable. Not only that, but this was also the first time we've seen Renata work in the LCO.
Yeah, I would say this has been the most successful one. We saw a couple of nice little ults from beats and stuff, right? But that was in losing games.
Yeah.
This is one time where I think we can actually say we saw a combo with the Renata, and it looked pretty, right? It was so good from Mammoth when they made it work, even if there was only one kill in the fight had happened. You're right, Mac. We saw a genuinely impactful Renata.
That was it, right? And I think it was like almost 90% KP, maybe even higher. It was like ticking over to 17, 18 assists towards the end there. But again, have a look at that gold difference. It just teetered off into the hands of Mammoth. 12k gold diff, pretty much everything going their way except for one turret, which was found by Gravitas. So I didn't mind Gravitas' comp. I just didn't know what they were doing and like where that damage was coming from. Of course, the Aphelios was doing okay there in bot lane, but it still just didn't, it didn't seem like it was enough, right? Like there's damage on the gangplank, but then, he didn't have a very good time up top. So what do you do, Skinny? What do you do? That's the real question.
Yeah, I mean, I think Aphelios had enough damage. I think the problem for him is he just wasn't able to actually play the game to utilize it, right? There was obviously a few miscommunications, perhaps, with how him and Zillion were interacting with the speed boost, or even just the ultimate. A big component of why you're picking that champion in the first place, right? But the fact is, you just saw Jarvan. I don't think he ever got a one-man Cataclysm. It was on repeat. It was just a burn flash. If you don't have it, you're just dead. Galio's job, or Refu, rather, his job was so easy that game. Essentially, he was just looking at his ultimate cooldown and saying, when am I going in, boss? Because when I'm going in, just that area of the map is just locked down, and we thought it could have been a game where, you know, objectives were really going to be controlled from either side. They both had the tools, cannon barrage, volley bear, all the rest of it, but really it was Mammoth saying, this is how we want to play, and you just have to react.
Well, Rusty, I'm sure you have some words for Kitty and tell her why she's wrong and that Gravitas wasn't the pick for the predictions.
I didn't, but I mean, no, it's fine.
Oh, you didn't have anything prepared?
This is no, because I went Gravitas the last 2 times, so I'm not going to flame anyone for it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll forgive you. We'll all forgive you this time. But Kitty, how you doing? Who do you have for the post-match?
Well, other than Rusty being a winner tonight, I have grabbed Refury, who just got a really convincing win against Gravitas. So hello, Refury. Do my wave. Hello. Congrats on that win, King. So let's talk about your draft. So it was actually spoken on Twitter as well. Let's talk about your R5 Galio. So we actually saw the Renata as well. Is Mammoth currently just experimenting with drafts because of the remaining time before playoffs?
Kinda. I mean, Rocco's been playing Renata like a ton. And with the Galio 5, I wanted to be Akshan, but we thought it would just be safer to get the W with the Galio J4 combo.
Well, we saw a really amazing performance from Mayfan as well. Do you have anything to say to your jungler from that performance?
I mean, like they say, right? J4, I have ult, J4 has ult, and I'm just like, send it, boss. And he's like, I'm going in. And then I'm just like, hats off to you, man. I just clicked that R button, he just carried me all the way. Classic Mayfan.
We all wish we had a Mayfan in our game carrying our
True.
I was gonna say asses, but I don't. Am I allowed to say that word? Okay. Well, anyways, we have made it to week 8. So let's talk about your reflection. So how would you say you've progressed so far in the split, and do you have anything to say to your teammates?
I think as a team we progressed a lot. Like we were just like monkeys in a cage, just like rattling about, just like crazy. By myself, I think I'm pretty trash. So it's hard to. There is improvement, but it's so little. I think I need to ramp that up a bit. But with our team, I think they're doing well. We're getting there from monkeys to apes. So progression is progression, I guess.
I didn't actually know a monkey evolved into an ape. You know, I gotta go study it up. But congrats on the win once again, Refury, and hopefully we see you soon.
Yes.
Yes.
What happened in that interview?
Looking forward to the chimp phase of the upgrade.
Kitty, you realise you just asked an LCO player whether you could say arse on broadcast.
He's like...
Sometimes I just speak my mind. I'm so sorry, Mac.
That's
It
all
just
right.
happened.
Look, I thought it was great. I also answered in your ear and let you know, well, you've said the word, so just go crazy. Say arse 70 times if you want. No one's going to know. No one's going to pull you up on it, maybe. It's just a bum. It's just a bum. That's it. Just think about that.
Everyone
Now,
has a bum.
look, we do have a Dare MVP from that match as well, as expected. And look, I might even sign this and send it across to the Dare MVP.
Oh.
Maybe. A little asterisk there. But, of course, it was May Fun. Man was popping off in the jungle, having probably his best game so far this split. 100% KP. Man was involved, Rusty.
Yeah, big buy Rice there, or no kills missed Rice at the moment. 6-0-15, he had a very good game for himself. He got a lot done early, right? And so much of the game revolved around him. As you heard from the interview, he just salutes Mayfan as he engages. Mayfan goes in, and then the big dog Refury just presses R and follows him in. And Mayfury, I just coupled them. Nice.
Voice fan?
Nah,
is it fun if you
Refury,
take rid of
Mayfan.
the May? I don't know. We can get him in an interview to ask all these questions eventually. But today, look, he did all his talking in the server with the raw mechanics. Absolute genius. Cracked on the keys. No sticks in League of Legends. But look, we have a play of the day. There's been a couple of multiple ones that you've maybe mentioned throughout the day. But do you have any that you remember now that we're 4 hours deep into the broadcast?
That's all that comes to mind right now. It's just that one on repeat.
Okay.
But it's not like a big play, right? Like, it's a cool little individual outplay. I just don't know if it's play of the day. Like, it's not team thing.
Well,
but maybe it's like Mayfun in the last game top lane.
Kitty, do you have any suggestions? Just
You
in
know,
case
we
they're
saw a
wrong.
Korean Lee Sin today. It's probably going to be some montage play by Arthur because we did get that sick outplay at, I believe, Raptors.
Okay, now, Rusty, this is what we were talking about earlier, right? You were saying in other games it's really easy for play-by-plays to sort of pop off when little crazy things happen. Well, this is one of those. Arthur on the Lee Sin, absolutely cracked with it. And look, just let's run it. Let's run it back. Have a look. Remember,
We like that.
this man, he's very good. He's very sharp. Look at his movement. And just watch this bait out from Fido's ult. Man's flashed it, gone back in. He has the moves on the D floor and in the Rift skin.
I mean, this is the kind of clip where you'd be watching it back and going, God damn, I'm good at this video game. Look how clean it is. And, you know, no vision, no problem. Quite honestly, Fido's molding, thinking, how on earth has he just read me like a book? Mental is broken, game is doomed. Chiefs, the GOATs.
Chiefs were the GOATs on the Rift today. And I don't know if anyone's going to be able to catch him because, look, Peace, they got the win. So I think there was like a 12.5% chance of them to tie for first place. But then even if that happens, Chiefs have head-to-head, right? So, oh wait, do they have head-to-head or is there still one game remaining between them?
Right, they'd still play each other.
Yeah, okay, there's still
Alright.
that Peace Chiefs game at some point. Look, there's been a lot of games over the last couple of weeks. Those Super Weeks, I've lost my spot and my mind. And my marbles, too. If you know where my marbles are, type one in Twitch chat and please send them back to me at my address, which I won't leak on stream. I think that's a bad idea. Now,
About to dox himself.
if you guys know where I live, please send them back. Now, let's have a look at what you guys want to know on Twitter. You guys have been sending in your questions from the fans, and we are here to answer your calls. We got Kitty here as well to shed some light on these. So what do we got? What are the best restaurants you can recommend in Melbourne? And, oh, Mac, that's me. I DM'd you this, but give me Mexican restaurants and food recommendations and what your go-to burrito filling is. Oh, Jaxus, mate. I'll go and I'll reply to you on your DMs now, so I'll do the second part. But, Giddy, when did you last go to Melbourne?
I've been to Melbourne once, and I believe it was when I was maybe 10. I went to go see the penguins, the little ones, and
Okay.
it's been a while, so I can't really give any good recommendations.
Well, that's no
So
good.
sorry.
So, Rusty, you're a man of culture, please. Where
Oh,
you going?
Melbourne restaurants. This is one of the, like, is anyone in this current, like, anyone here been or lived in Melbourne? 'Cause
Oh,
I don't-
go to Le Bonton in whatever the suburb is. Type in Lebonton. It's a cool pub, and they had some really good meat. They had some like really good like vinegary meat. I don't know. My Pilly was telling me about it. Anyway, it was good. It was really,
Southern
really
US
yummy.
style grills.
That's the one.
and
Yeah. Now
alcohol
we've got
that
a
I
few
won't
more
say.
questions to get through. Apparently, there's a bunch, so we're gonna go through these a little faster now. Laura, again, you're back in again? Worst pizza topping? Oh, probably your spaghetti ones. They never bloody come in one piece.
What about banana? Because I've seen this.
What?
Like, I've actually seen banana on pizza, which is why I say it.
Like
Because
dessert
like, it's a known
pizza?
topping.
I've
Yeah.
seen it with like banana and Nutella as like one of those like dessert pizzas, but I wouldn't say it's bad.
That's
Anchovies suck.
Oh my
They
god, I
suck,
hate
man.
anchovies.
Yeah, they would.
Phil.
If you like anchovies, I don't know what's going on with your,
I'd
with
rather
your
play
palate,
solo queue.
but yeah, there you go. That's saying something.
I'm
All
trying
right.
to think what else there could be, like a broccoli pizza or like I don't know, like an avo pizza, like some just
I've
really
had-
out there random
I've had
stuff.
Avo on pizza, it's not too bad. As long as it's not like a terrible avocado. Obviously, that's what it depends on, right? Now, look, we've got
Yeah.
more to get through, so let's see what else is going on the Twitter sphere. What you guys want to know. Yeah, kill the crab. Yeah. How do you get Challenger? So, I'm guessing it's kill the crab. Is that what we're going with
Well,
here?
it's such an in joke. Unless you follow that other game, you're probably going to think, what on earth are you on about, Mac? But maybe some people will know. Maybe there's smart cookies out there.
There's crabs in the river.
Can
What do you
speak the
mean?
lingo.
Everything the sun touches is League of Legends.
Well,
That Shadow Realm.
does anyone have an answer for Udi? Because I just don't want to answer him because he's got some banging
Well, I'm
content.
not
going
qualified
on.
to answer, so it has to be one of these two.
I'm also not qualified to answer that. Just get good, Udi.
Okay, well, Udisoft, I actually have a legit strat. So when I play O solo queue, I try to aim for a time where pro players are actually not playing scrims and they're actually actively playing solo queue, so you get better game quality. And if you're on a 2-game losing streak, I would highly recommend to just not play for the rest of the day because, you know, sometimes you just snowball into 10 losses, and that's happened to me before. And something that I used to go by is never play solo queue at 1 a.m. But I stopped
Okay.
being a degen, so 1 a.m. is quite late for me. You know, sometimes you get sleepy, you're not at peak performance. That's things I go by. Hopefully it helps you, Udi. I see you on a 20-day stream for a challenger. Hopefully you get it very soon, and you will have, you'll be able to get some
Praying
rest.
for your mental health, King.
Oh, I love degenerates. Follow me on Twitter if you're a degenerate. Now, look, let's move on. We got standings to have a quick look at. Why's that funny, huh?
Follow me if you're a degenerate, and if you're a normie, get out of here. Like,
Hey, I didn't say the
None of
normies
that.
didn't follow as well. They just have to be ready for some experimental content. Now, let's have a look at who's here. Of course, it's still those 5 on the ladder. Oh, it's happened! It's happened! We have a leaderboard that goes from 1 to 8, and there's no fucking ties! It's finally happened, Rusty!
yes. Can I say us?
You can say us if you want to.
say
Stevie.
Yeah, okay, not sure how to follow that yell, but Mammoth beating Gravitas does put them one ahead of Kanga back. So yes, we've avoided a lot of the ties towards the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah.
And we're actually getting games of separation. It's almost two wins difference between everyone now.
Oh, it's great
It's
to
actually
see.
almost even better than just separate now. It's 2-8.
It's beautiful and it's easy on the eyes, you know. It's really great. Now, apologies to everyone's ears that weren't expecting that, but I've just been waiting for this for like 8 bloody weeks, and it's finally happened. So I was saving that one. Now, that's the F-bomb quota done for the week. I swear I won't swear tomorrow. But let's have a look. What is going to be swearing tomorrow? I swear these games will be played. 6 p.m. we got Gravitas and Kanga, which should be interesting. Both teams finding some form as of late. 7 p.m. Order and Pentanet. This is one of the ones that Rusty said you all got to watch, so make sure you don't miss it. 8 p.m. we got Chiefs, we got Peace, another absolute banger. Probably one that you don't want to miss. So be here or be square. I don't know.
Yeah.
Figure that one out. 9 p.m. as well. Mammoth and Direwolves, which should be interesting affair because Direwolves, you know, we don't know what we're going to get with them at the moment, although they have been finding some solid form as well. Kitty, what's your game of the day?
Those 2 games in the middle are definitely must-watches. It affects the standings so much for playoffs. I'm definitely watching out for Peace and the Chiefs because if Peace wins against Chiefs, they still have a shot for first seed.
They certainly do. It's, wait, for first seed?
Not for first seed?
Negative. There's only 3 games left. They can't win
Oh, it's doomed.
Wait, what are you talking about?
7 games.
For playoff seed 1. That is it.
Yeah,
Is the dream doomed?
Peace can still challenge Chiefs if that's
Chiefs
what we're
need to
talking
lose
about.
everything. Though.
Wait, did you... I thought you were talking about Direwolves for some reason. Sorry, my brain, I just spaced. If you
late
guys haven't been
in
here
the
for the last
stream.
5 minutes, I'm actually losing it. I wasn't joking before. Now, Rusty, quickly save me.
Yes, sir.
What's good about tomorrow? What's your favourite game?
I am looking forward to PGG and Order personally tomorrow, just because there's always been a couple of bangers when those two play. But Peace versus Chiefs, I think very obviously is the place to look at without a shadow of a doubt.
100%. And look, that is it for today. I'm going to end the stream before I lose my job and get fined for a second time. But thank you all for watching. We appreciate you being here, and be back tomorrow to make sure you don't miss these high-quality, high-octane matches. I love you, and we'll see you there.
Jumps in and realizes that's not the fight he's after. There's a lot of damage from the missiles as they look to try and disengage away. Predator's been pounced upon with the killer instinct. And Frost has got that killer instinct. He's found a double here. He's not going to run them all down in close proximity. He's found himself a triple kill. Now on towards that cannon, who finds the Lee Sim. We're going to pay the price for it. He's got a quad. Shinking, good old Locker comes out nice early. Order attention, pile driving into a target onto Yuri. He goes golden. He buys time. Ejir gets propped and a kill comes out. They're respawning from the fountain and they're jumping in.
It all comes down to like how you play the. Oh, hang on.
He wants a little bit of this one, doesn't he? He's got the board to get flashed away from the Shadow Surge and just straight disrespects Fido and takes out his jungler. That was gorgeous.
I don't think you ever go through this.
Doesn't care with the health, and they're going to really look to try and take as much of that health as they can. They've absolutely just sniped out Puma. He's going to be missing that dragon because Order have claimed it, but they're going to now go for the team fight, so you cannot disengage away. They've once again sniped out Puma. He's just not allowed to play the game, and once he's gone, the rest of Order go tumbling down. A double kill found here for Abby. Bio forced to ultimate away just to disengage. You just hate to see it. And then he has been feared. He has been under any real Don't worry about that guardian angel. Voice is just trying to be an absolute hero. He's flashed forward. He wants to do it all. He's trying to go for the bailout procs. It's just staying online. He is doing it all on his own. He's corralled the rest of the team. Get in this base because I am popping off.
Hey, look, Menulog.
Bro,
I want to say I do, but
Nah, do it. Say it.
Have a guess.
Say it.
Do it.
You said you want to.
I want
Do
to
it,
say
Skinny.
no. I'm just going to say Pantheon. Just get something out there.
He's
Hecarim.
looking like a Cho'Gath, big old toad.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was because he's screaming at stuff, and you can see like it has to be a big person because there's debris in it, and the people actually